Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to this Everfox webinar. Today we're going to be talking about streamlining your cross-domain solutions, and we're going to explore exactly what does streamlining your cross-domain solutions mean, and go through some of the things to look out for when looking at cross-domain solutions. And again, this is going to be focusing mainly on a United Kingdom and NATO nation perspective. So hi everyone, this is me. My name's Dan Fever. I'm a senior sales architect here at Everfox. I've been working in cross-domain for around 10 plus years now, and I started my life as a software tester and gradually moved into a more pre-sales role, solution architect role as my career has gone on. And I've worked focusing mainly in UK central government and defence over those years. The agenda. So what are we going to be talking about today and looking at? The first place I want to start is the problem with sharing data and why is that a problem? The look at the cross-domain landscape today and how is that, what does that really mean? And again, also looking at a tailored approach to cross-domain solutions. What does that mean? What should you be looking out for in a cross-domain solution? Then we'll move on to some of the benefits and challenges that you face with cross-domain. And then finally, looking at some of the principles to look for within a cross-domain solution provider or vendor. Let's begin then. So let's start at looking at the data sharing problem. So again, when we talk about data sharing in a cross-domain perspective, we talk about importing data and exporting data. So if we take a look at the import of data initially, you have to receive information within a cross-domain solution, but to receive that information, you need to accept that data. So data is carrying the information that you need to pass into that cross-domain. And the problem with that is data can carry malware. And again, when dealing with cross-domain solutions, you're not dealing with your traditional types of malware. You're dealing with new malware, unknown malware. So again, your approach to how you defeat that malware must be different. Then if we look at the export of data, so again, sending data from a higher classification to a lower classification, for example, you are concerned that the information within that data could also contain extra information, things that you may not want to leave that domain. And again, this could be an intentional way of exfiltrating information. It could be an unintentional means of exfiltrating that information. But again, you need to ensure that the data that's leaving that network is allowed to leave and doesn't contain anything unwanted. So let's just take a look at cross-domain today. As I've said, cross-domain can be several things to different people. It could be as simple as connecting two different networks together. Now, these networks tend to be at different classifications, and with different classification means there's different risks depending on those networks. So for example, in the UK, you could have an official sensitive network connecting to a UK secret network. It's a very simple and common use case with cross-domain. And for that, you need, as I say, if you're going up the classifications, so going from official sensitive to secret, there is a greater risk that official sensitive has been compromised. So you are concerned about the ingest of malware into that more classified network. And then when you're moving back down the classifications, your concern is around the data that is leaving that classification. So again, you want to ensure that the data that's being exported out of that network is allowed to leave. And again, there are things you can do with cross-domain solutions to ensure that the data can leave, such as label checks and also validation on the data that's being sent out. But it might not necessarily be as simple as two networks connecting together. It might be different coalition partners, for example, connecting into a single point. For example, you could have the UK connecting into a network, a partner then connecting into the same network, and another partner connecting into that network. And again, you need a cross-domain solution there to ensure that the data that's coming into that place, into that collaboration environment, if you like, is safe and clean, that all the users within that collaboration environment are interacting with digitally pure information. So a couple points here around what to look out for within a cross-domain solution. What are the different perspectives and the different controls that should be in place with a cross-domain solution? You need something that is a proactive defense. So what do I mean by proactive? When I talk about proactive here, I'm talking about something, as I've said, you can be dealing with data that is known and unknown malicious content within it. And because of the unknown, you need something that is going to be able to proactively defeat data that, or defeat malware that's not known about. Because when you're dealing with cross-domain, you tend to be dealing with the highest threats that are out there today. So the nation state threats, the things that people are keeping back for specific things that they aren't publicly making available. So again, proactive defense, being able to defeat unknown malware, not relying on your traditional cybersecurity, which heavily relies on detection, which is a very reactive approach. So again, with a detection-based anti-malware, you are looking for what do you know about, and if you see something you don't know about, you patch it, and then you do know about it. But that's only good for defeating the known malware. It's no good when we're dealing with cross-domain solutions where the threats are unknown. Again, you need a cross-domain solution that's self-defending. Now you think, well, how on earth can you have a security solution that's self-defending? I mean, these solutions are written by humans. How can we create something that's self-defending? Well, the way you do that is by introducing verification. So the problem with software is it's extremely complex. And with complexity comes vulnerability. So by making that software that's complex and taking it from very complex structures and simplifying that, you can then validate and verify that the software is doing what it should do. And again, we can do this in software or we can do it in hardware. And by doing it in hardware, you're verifying that that complex software is doing the correct thing each time. And that stops it from if somebody compromises that software from taking control of your sensitive network. Again, it's becoming more and more common now in dealing with cross-domain that hardware security separation is being introduced. So again, term that you'll hear in the cross-domain space is hardsec. So this means that you are enforcing hardware security devices such as FPGAs, so field programmable gate arrays, to enforce hardware separation between the different networks. It could be you're using a diode as well, but traditionally, in the UK, we're moving more towards FPGA devices because it offers you a better control and flow control of the data. Again, this FPGA device can be used as a verification tool as well. So you can put some software on there, and that ensures that the hardware will only do that one thing because you are flashing that hardware with the software. So ensuring, as I spoke about before with the self-defending, that it can verify that that complex software is doing what it's meant to do. So you also want to look at something that can enforce a one-way flow. Now, this isn't necessarily saying that you can only send data one way. You can send data in both directions. So from, if we take our previous example of official sensitive to secret, you can send it from a official sensitive to secret, but you can also send it from secret to official sensitive. But what this is saying is that you have two distinct flows for that data. You're not sharing the flow for those two data. And the reason for that is that you have control and you understand the movement of your data. And again, that's extremely important when you're sending data out of these sensitive networks, because you need to be able to prove where your data is going and who has access to it. And again, there are several pieces of guidance in the different countries that you can look to conform to or take advice from. So here in the UK, we have the NCSC, and they have various principles that you can read and take a look at. So cross-domain solution principles there. They also have import-export. In the United States, they have the NCDSMO, which stands for National Cross-Domain and Management Office. So again, this is another government body that is advising or mandating the types of solutions that should be used in a cross-domain purpose. Benefits and challenges then. So again, we've spoken about some of these already, but some of the challenges with cross-domain is being able to defeat the known and unknown threats. So again, I spoke about that proactive approach. It is very important that you can defeat unknown threats with cross-domain solutions, because those are the threats you're most concerned about in these environments. Again, it's ensuring that the data is also being sent out of these domains, is allowed to leave the domains. It doesn't have anything encoded within it, hiding there. And again, depending on the types of mechanism that's being used to exfiltrate some data, it could be an obvious way of leaking data, like copying and pasting it into the end of a data structure. It could be a more sophisticated way, such as steganography, where you encode data into imagery and leak it that way. And again, when you're looking for a cross-domain provider, you need to ensure that they can defeat those sophisticated mechanisms of data exfiltration or data attack. Finally, what should you look for in a cross-domain solution vendor, really? So you need a cross-domain solution vendor that's going to prioritize security first and foremost. It's one of the most important things, if not the most important thing of your cross-domain solution, is the security of those two networks that you're connecting together. So you need a vendor that prioritizes that security when designing their solutions and implementing their solutions. Again, you need to look for a vendor who can do high assurance solutions. The reason for this is cross-domain solutions are typically looked at as a bottleneck for connecting these two networks, because it's the thing that all the data is going to flow through. So it's important that you have the ability to have a solution that can be scaled to meet the needs of your cross-domain. Again, you should also look at leveraging experienced cross-domain professionals. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean only go for a company that's been around for 40 plus years, but it means you shouldn't necessarily be just taking advice from people who have only worked in the industry for a couple of months or a year. You should take advice from people who have been working in the industry for a long time. Cross-domain has been around for quite a while, and again, it has evolved over that time. So having people who have learnt from mistakes of the past, but have also developed new and exciting ways of handling cross-domain is very important. Maintain file integrity. So again, this is extremely important, again, because you are moving data between different classifications, different sensitivities. It's very important that the information within that data is conveyed correctly and is showing you what it should show you. For example, if you've got data show it was meant to be a 1, now displays a 2, that's going to convey a completely different meaning. So ensuring file integrity is very important. Rapid and near real-time data transfer. Again, this goes back to the point I made around the cross-domain solution being thought of as a bottleneck. You need to ensure that the security that's being implemented in there is able to handle and apply that security in a fast and effective mechanism. Again, trying to reduce any of that downtime that might be incurred when moving data between the different networks. And again, having seamless collaboration here, this is all around ensuring that the users have a seamless experience when dealing with cross-domain, so they don't know really that they are sending things through cross-domain. You want to make this a very friendly and pleasant experience for users. The problem with security is often that users don't have a nice time using it, and therefore they find ways around it. If you make the security seamless to the user and transparent, they're more likely to keep using it and not going to worry about trying to find a backdoor around it. Simplify maintenance and updates. So again, this comes back a bit towards the traditional detection approach. If you can simplify, if you don't rely on detection, you're going to simplify the maintenance of the solution. You're not going to have to patch it all the time for the latest antivirus update. If you can create something that's going to be able to defeat viruses of today and tomorrow already, you don't then have to worry about patching it against a new vulnerability in 4 months' time. It's already going to be able to defeat that threat. So you want a company that has planned for scalability as well. So something that allows you to add more solutions potentially into your cross-domain as new requirements come up, and the ability to meet your growing demands. So you may find that you want to add more users into your cross-domain solution, and for that you need more throughput. So again, customize intelligently. What does that mean? Well, really, it means that when dealing with cross-domain requirements, you often find very niche and bespoke requirements which are only specific to that one customer potentially. And because of that, you need to have a cross-domain solution that can be customized and can be designed and developed to meet those niche requirements. So again, having the ability to have something that allows scripting, for example, within it, that allows either the customer to write some custom scripts or the vendor to write those custom scripts for you, allows you just to proactively meet those different requirements. And then finally, remain compliant. So again, we spoke around the different accreditations or the different accreditation boards within the countries for things like the NCDSMO and the NCSC. So the advice that's offered there, it's important that the vendors are also taking note of this advice and are aligning the solutions with the different government bodies there to ensure that they are also designing their solutions to meet those different advices. So thank you. That was a very quick whistle-stop tour through cross-domain. I hope you found it interesting and have got some value out of it. Again, if you'd like to get in touch with us, please do get in contact with Everfox. We've got 25 plus years of experience dealing with governments in various countries all around the world. So we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your time.